Now, for business updates across the globe, Rotus Odiri joins us.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. But I understand that before we begin, that we're going to have a special package on, of course, the cost of living crisis in Nigeria. Inflation, doctor already went through the numbers, 22.79%. And so for millions in the country, rising cost of living, big concern. Situations worsened, of course, following the scrapping of petrol subsidies, hike in fares, food, rents, and pretty much every other metric that you use to measure how people survive. So our correspondent Nkechi Nana has a report on that very issue.
Welcome to Nigeria, a vibrant and diverse country with a rich cultural heritage, now confronting a sobering perspective of the cost of living crisis. I'm here at what used to be one of Abuja's busiest main roads, a place that reflects the heart of Nigeria's political and administrative center. But behind its grandeur and modernity lies a stark reality: the rising cost of living that's left many to little or no disposable income.
They come, but most of them don't end up buying because of the price. Before, if it were before, now you will meet customers in the shop. Out of like 5, it's only 3 or 2 that will buy. The rest will tell you we will come back later.
People are now prioritizing what they buy. Some people no longer do impulse buying. Most times someone might have pot at home and he's not that old, but because he has a lot of money at his disposal, he wants to maybe get another second pot. But because of the way things are going, people no longer buy, a whole lot of things at home. They buy what they need.
What you've just heard is a result of record-high soaring inflation in Nigeria that's made everyday items like food, fuel, and housing increasingly unaffordable. Let's take a look at the key factors contributing to this crisis.
During the COVID, the idea was that the COVID pandemic basically contracted our economy. That coincided with the Russian-Ukraine war, which had impact, especially inflationary trend with food and all that supplies. Beyond those external factors, a large chunk of the cost of living crisis are recent. One, of course, we have the perennial either farmers' conflict and how it affects food supply and increases food prices. On quarter by quarter, we see increases. Then the removal of fuel subsidy had massive impact because it also affected cost of transport, which is a very large percentage of household spend. So if you look at typical household spend, the working class, much of the cost, significant cost goes to transport. And then the transport cost has domino impact on food, cost of food and even services. So everything goes up.
Increased transportation costs, lack of efficient public transportation are among the daily challenges Nigerians continue to face. This is evident at the Otako Motor Park, where there's an obvious reduction in the amount of travelers boarding cars that go across the country.
Before we run from Abuja here to River State, 15,000. But now it has increased to 500 from Abuja to River State. Some come out to come and join vehicle to go, but the price will not suit them. They'll go back due to the price change.
Formerly, we are collecting 15,000, 13,000 from here to Enugu or Onitsha by Siana. But now, people we are collecting now 28,000, 30,000, and people is not traveling anymore because of no money. Formerly, we are loading about, if there is a season, we load about 30, but normal day we load 15. But now we had it to load 2. Had it to load, like today now, we cannot even load 1. For my own company, we couldn't make 1. I'm living at Pape in Abuja here. So we pay, formally we pay transport to 200 naira. But now from here to Pape, it's 500. And you still enter Okada, 200. Going 700, coming back 700, which is 1,004. And I'm not making even 1,000 a day. And I have children.
Small businesses, the backbone of Nigeria's economy, are also facing immense challenges. Rising operational costs make it difficult for these enterprises to remain competitive and retain employees. This is Sonia Ade, a fashion designer who has had to reduce her working days. She explains why.
As you can see, my tailors are not here. So before now, we do Mondays to Saturdays as just to make sure that we deliver close to our customers. I can't afford my tailors coming to work, spending 3 times what they used to spend to come to work every day. So now we've decided to reduce the work from Monday to Friday. Now, when it comes to their payments, increasing their money is also a problem for me because I can't increase the customer's money way more than I should. Now, when you're telling the customer a certain price, you are thinking at the back of your mind, you as yourself, as putting yourself in the customer's position, can you afford it? So now, before we get a lot of work, when we say people are doing ashwebi and all, people are cutting that down. So what I'm producing now is more of sustainable fashion pieces where someone can wear every day, wear to work and also wear to occasions if you have to. The fuel hike is really bad. We buy 30 liters of gallon before now for 5.5 when it was 195. Now we're spending 18,650 just to buy 30 liters and there is no light. So we are constantly on gen. So if there is way for the government to find a way to give us consistent light, I think this fuel hike will not affect us as much as we are saying.
The cost of living crisis in Nigeria is undeniably a complex and multifaceted issue that's seen the erosion of disposable income. Citizens explain basic amenities have become luxuries and how much they've had to cut down spending.
There are so many things we cut out to make ends meet. My mom's Go TV, they called me to tell me it's going to expire and this one, that one. I said, but you guys have increased the rates. And to check it, she's not even always at home to be watching it. She's a business person, so I'm going to cut it down. Going to reduce the payments.
I've cut down the things I used to buy in the markets before. Like before now, this fish, I used to buy it in carton. But now I'm just going to buy for like 2,000 naira now. And crayfish, I buy it in paint buckets or I share with my friends. But now I'm going to reduce the quantity I'm going to buy. And tomato, I'm not buying tomato today. I'm going to buy banga so that I can cut down the price. Tomato is very high now, so I'm using banga to make my stew. Every day my son takes sausage to school and egg. But now I've reduced the egg to like 3 times a week. Before it's every day. It takes an egg, but now it's 3 times a week. I cut it. If he's taking sausage today, tomorrow he will take egg. But before I can combine the two together and just make something for him to go to school. And then the juice too, I cut it down. It's not every day he takes juice to school now.
Experts say the country's situation demands immediate attention and solutions that target the most affected.
You can give them rebates. So all those things will pay taxes, they pay for a period of time, they're not going to pay. So if for my salary they take 3,000 a month or 4,000 a month and it's no longer taken, I've received actually equivalent of 4,000 back into my. That's one of the ways. That's what the US and other places have tax rebates as a way of, okay, fine, is to give you back the money. And that money we're giving you back is like a transfer. So you have a target for civil servants under level 8, all the things they pay that are taxes, government waive it for that year. People also talk about CNG gas, for example. If you provide a lot of those buses across the country and people use them, you have reduced the cost of mobility for those people who use it. So there will be still those in the rural area who probably are not using the public transport regularly, but once in a while they use it and they get impacted. And they also get impacted because those people who carry food stuff to town and pay money adds up. So whether you travel or not, the impact of this fuel subsidy will affect you or whatever. So things like, for example, free medical can compensate for the gap that the small income is being spent more for occasional travel, and then of course increasing. Then you can now use general program to reduce cost of living in terms of maybe more agro investment in fertilizers. That over the next maybe 6 months, 1 year, you see increase in food supply, and then maybe price go down. But in the short to medium term, the response should be targeted to who is going to capture that gain.
The story of everyday Nigerians paints a picture of resilience and determination. But that won't last long, as the weight of hope lies on the leadership to implement concrete economic reforms where citizens can have solace in their nation's promise of prosperity. Nkechi Nana, Arise News, Abuja.
All right, well, great report there from Nkechi. And it just shows that there is a lot of work that has to be done in terms of alleviating these cost pressures that are impacting our citizens. Dakba Abiodun, the executive governor of Ogun State, Prince Doctor Abiodun.
Let's choose one.
He has,
either Prince or Doctor.
He has announced.
I can see that cheeky look in your face.
So as you see there, the tweets, this was not too long ago. He says cash palliatives of 10,000 naira for public servants, hazard allowance for health and medical personnel. Number 3 is approval for peculiar allowance for public servants in the state. Not sure what that is. Immediate release of letters of promotion for 2021-2022. Payment of March and April leave bonuses for public servants. Then immediate cash backing for quarterly payments of gratuities. And then it continues, all the ministries, departments, and agencies are to work out modalities for ensuring that 20% of staff strength are off duty to ease the impact of fuel price among public servants. Then it says food palliatives to the vulnerable, rice, gari, beans. And then number 9, Gateway Trading Company has been directed to ensure the establishment of distribution outlets and this is interesting, items that must be sold at a rate obtainable before the fuel price. So Ogun State is going to essentially subsidize food.
Yeah.
Then it says fertilizers and other farm inputs to be supplied to farmers at subsidized price. So it's subsidizing fertilizer, subsidizing food. Then this is number 11. This is the CNG thing. He says the state mass transit buses, they will convert them to CNG. And then number 12, and this is what a number of people were reacting to on Twitter, immediate road infrastructure intervention with all the local governments working with community developers to submit 3 roads that require immediate intervention. So I'm not sure what you all think of those, because I mean, I don't know how constructing a road is part of a palliative when it should have been, fixed in the first place. And he had a lot of tweets responding with videos of particular, roads in Ogun State that need to be fixed. But good on him, good on Governor of Edo State, Governor Obaseki. The key thing here, he said that 10,000 naira is only for 3 months. If I read that tweet correctly. So there's a limit on how long the money will be, because Ogun State is, it's, in fact, funny enough, the latest inflation figures, Ogun State has the highest month-on-month headline inflation and highest month-on-month food inflation. So on a month-on-month basis, Ogun State has the highest prices of food. So if he's going to be subsidizing food for citizens, that is going to weigh heavily on Ogun State's finances. So how long are you going to do that?
I don't see a problem here.
Okay.
I think, if anything, Governor Dakwa Abiodun should be commended.
Oh, of course, yes, certainly.
You will recall that recently, after the National Executive Council, Economic Council meeting, one of the outcomes was the governors resolving that they would take over this idea of palliatives. And that, the controversy then was about social register,
right,
which we said on this same program, that the states, they have social registers because they generated it. And what we have now seen is that some of those governors, going back home, have started implementing certain initiatives. In Edo State, Governor Obaseki has increased the minimum wage to 40,000, although organized labor says minimum wage should be about 200,000. Now in Ogun State, Governor Abiodun has rolled out all these measures. And the thing about road intervention, I don't think it's out of place. You will recall that one of the things that came up after that NEC meeting was President Tinubu talking about infrastructure support fund. And the states are supposed to play a role in that particular regard. So if he's talking about road intervention, that's another. One other thing that I think we should note in the Abiodun initiative in Ogun State is that he's also talking about involving the pensioners in, the palliatives, because you recall that the National Pensions Association, they have also come forward to say, please don't forget us. We also exist. As you adjust minimum wage, adjust our own liabilities too, and then pay all the arrears that you are owing us. Well, all of this is fine on paper. Ogun State has come out with 9 measures. Ogun State has said even promotion exercise will be conducted so that people who are due for promotion can get promoted. They will be given 10,000 naira, civil servants, that is, for a few months, just to alleviate the suffering. But the bigger issue in all of this is not just about government. There's also an example of certain individuals, also at their own level, intervening. In Ogun State, Senator Gbenga Daniel yesterday launched what he called an interest-free microcredit scheme to help people, I guess, in his constituency, because it will be difficult to do that statewide. That will be usurping the functions of the government. But that's another initiative. In Lagos here, at Ojodu, SCDA, the chairman has also provided buses. He says he wants to help the people. So all of these measures are important, as long as they are not done for political reasons, as long as there is a concerted effort from the federal government level to the local government level to help the people to alleviate their suffering. Which takes me back to the report by Kichin Nana, focusing on how people are adjusting. Yes, so people are adjusting. In fact, I think I wrote a comment on that back page of This Day Today, because it is inevitable. It is again, that report is again a reminder of the need for government intervention, of collective effort. You have no option in the matter. You just have to adjust. Inflation has gone up. Salaries are not going up. Wage indexation is not going to work. By the end of today, we will hear from the Monetary Policy Committee. I don't think they are going to tell us anything that will help us in any way. So we're in a very difficult situation. In fact, one other aspect that all the suggestions that people have been making has not addressed is that, look, this country is facing the danger of mass psychosis. People are becoming depressed. Have you not seen how people behave these days as a result of the pandemic of empty pockets? People are very touchy. They are very insensitive. There is a mental health crisis in the country because of deprivation, because of dispossession. Do we have a mechanism in place to counsel people? In a country where suicide is very high, we have been told people cannot go, they can't travel again. Yes, if the increase is almost 200, 300%, where are they going to travel to? Have you seen that Tinubu has solved the traffic problem in Lagos? He has become a chief traffic controller because people now don't go about like a small pulse again. They don't go about like small pots. Pepper soup joints have lost customers.
That's true.
It's not only tailors that have lost customers.
That's true.
Have you been to a pepper soup joint recently? Nobody is doing serve them around again. You go and do serve them around at a beer parlor at your own peril. So everybody is just adjusting, and as I have argued elsewhere, a day may come when we all end up like broomsticks. I've seen some stomachs disappear around there. It's not only my own. I saw Joe yesterday. His stomach is beginning to come down.
How is work out?
This is the reality. It's not working out. So it's the reality of the times.
So what I want to say is this. Yes, he has put forward this palliative, but the problem we always have is empirical planning. So in planning this, how much is the population in Ogun State? It's projected around 6 million. 2006 census was 3 million. So it should also plan it spread across the projected numbers. Okay, we hear the pictures of Mr. Godwin Emefiele is right there entering the courtroom.
To be arraigned,
To be arraigned in High Court on weapons charges. So he has arrived at the High Court in Lagos. I think he's just gotten into the courtroom there. If we can get our cameras, we'll be able to see him.
Isn't it interesting that this is happening on the same day that the Monetary Policy Committee is making their decision? Isn't that just interesting?
Yeah, make up your mind what to do. But we can see the pictures there.
Cameras aren't allowed.
Not allowed in the courtroom.
So that's why we can't see him yet.
Okay.
But hopefully we would get some.
So, but we're going to get more details. I can see our reporter there about Adeoye. It's quite there. To give us a breakdown. So, part of the what is it called? The food at specific rates. There are about 20 local governments in Ogun State, if my memory serves. Yes, there should be 20 local governments. And there are people spread across those local governments. Can we target, number of households in those local governments? That's why I keep talking about data. You're targeting for people that are going to come get that food. And they're going to buy it at that certain rate. Because, we don't want to have a case where multiple households buy and some other household do not get. So are we going to go back and give them like a voucher or a tally that once you've bought once, they mark it off for you so that you don't come back to buy again? Because we're also going to have the problem of hoarding so that it can go around. So one per household, if a household comes to buy, you take them out.
Excellent point. One per household, right? One what?
No.
One meal now, right?
No, it's not one meal. So if it's 1 kg of rice, 1 kg of gari, 1 kg of this, 1 kg
Fantastic.
of that.
And you're saying the households cannot go back and collect another one, right?
No, yeah. Why I'm saying that is so that it will be able to go around.
Fine.
Because there's also a case of hoarding. Hang on, let me finish, all right?
Yeah.
If we can do that so that you can spread it around. Because you see, the problem with things like this is when you have it, some people just book it in advance and they hoard it and people don't get.
Yeah.
And they share to their political friends and their political cronies.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to streamline it. And Rotus, it has happened today. It has happened before in Nigeria. If you remember, you've read about the stories of the essential commodity days.
Yes.
That was what was happening. A lot of people were hoarding and people couldn't get essential commodities to buy at a certain price. So all of this, like I was saying before, Nigeria is a cycle. Yeah. These things have happened today. Buying food at this particular price, it has always happened in days of essential commodity. Yeah. So secondly, he talked about conversion to CNG. We would like to see the safety implications of that. I'm a little bit iffy. How is the conversion going to be done? I think Innocent makes CNG possible. Maybe they will just order from Innocent that already has bought this conversion that they will do.
That you keep mentioning all the time.
That they put at the back.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Innocent North. These are Nigerian car manufacturers now. Rotus, we need to use it to be able to grow our own economy within.
Yes.
And make of it what will I call GMC or will I call Chevrolet?
True.
No, I'm not an American. It's Nigerian I'll call now. So I don't know what you are saying. This Innocent you keep calling all the time.
Okay, so
moving on from that, I'm still talking, please.
Go ahead.
So the other one as regards road infrastructure. The road infrastructure is about iffy for me, and I see why people are reacting on Twitter. You ought to have fixed your road before now. It is not during palliative time you start to talk about roads and all of that. Fix your road, leave it out of palliative, use that money to be able to do other things, all right? And the farmers' input too. Once you are giving something that, please, let us regulate so that people can get these things. That's just my point I wanted to make.
And just to highlight that, you talked about the 10,000 naira just for 3 months. You said in the first instance. So there is an opportunity to increase it, haven't evaluated it, perhaps waiting for the federal government to make its own announcement in terms of what their provision for palliatives would be. Also in terms of the peculiar allowance, I find that quite peculiar. What's the peculiar allowance for public servants in the state? What would that entail? Perhaps just a breakdown of that. How would that be disbursed? What we talk about usually is great policies. Implementation has to be tight in terms of how it is. We ensure that it gets to the intended. And then the other part I was going to look at as well is this 20% of staff strength working in ministries, departments, and agencies. And we're going back again to the era of just immediately post-COVID, where we had adjustments to working styles, 1 week off and 1 week on. And remember that organizations are now about coming to terms with, let's go back to normal working hours, where we have 5 days a week or at least 4 days a week. It looks like we're going to revert to what obtained. And we've had like a practice then that it can work. You can, and we've had this debate for a long time in terms of should we promote working from home, have people working in some days and out of work some days, how we can push productivity. There have been concerns around productivity levels with regards to people working from home, but obviously this might be, what is the way forward following the current economic realities. And beyond state governments and federal governments, I think private sector as well should be conscious of this as well. There are some things that can be adapted because these plans, many of these plans are mainly for civil servants and workers, that's especially for the work policies. Perhaps the private sector as well should come into this conversation, have your staff members work more from home if it's not necessary for them to be at work physically. I do think this 12-point agenda by the Ogun State governor is well received. It's a good move in the right direction. I'm hopefully looking forward to seeing other states follow. I will still highlight the fact that Lagos State has still not come up, and I'm glad that we have someone from Lagos State coming later today, perhaps to have an opportunity to ask in terms of what their plans are for Lagosians at this time.
10,000, okay, one quick second. 10,000 naira times 10,000 people, just individuals, and you can divide that 10,000 by 4 people in a household to get your numbers, is 100 million naira. So again, I emphasize that, and when Rufai was talking about a family only collecting a bag of rice, a bag of gari, and then you can't collect again so that it can go around. How long will that rice, gari, and so on last? So there's the issue of continuity. But doctor, please, go right ahead.
I was just going to comment on work time.
Yeah.
It's not only Ogun State that has addressed this. So it's after a pattern, an emerging pattern. Kwara State reduced working days at a point to 3 days per week. The same with Edo State, the same with Bayelsa, the same with Oyo State. And the whole idea is that, look, if you have to stay at home 3 days a week, then maybe that will take off the burden of transportation. So it's not only Ogun State in this regard. But what we will expect is a situation whereby there will be no implications for productivity.
Bless you.
This is the big issue.
You took that point. Carry on. Carry on.
This is the big issue that we face.
Yeah.
And that is the major, outcome of the analysis done by Nkechi Nana. If people can no longer travel, if people can no longer go to work, if artisans no longer have customers, people take their vehicles to the car park, nobody is traveling, it has implications for national productivity. And in the long term, it will also have implications for national competitiveness. So I hope the experts, all these economists, who just come up with ideas, I hope they are communicating properly with the policymakers to establish a proper nexus. Now that, is it KPMG telling us, or Fitch the other day, that growth will be about 2.7%. And at 2.7%, we're literally dead.
Doctor, what is GDP? GDP is the market value of outputs of goods and services. That is basically measuring that output in a nation in particular. If people stay at home, Doctor just nailed it right there. Your output is going to go down. So the point that needs to be made here is that no matter what you do here, there are, as Doctor has said, there will be implications. The cost on the states, the impact on GDP. In fact, by the way, Nigeria, when you're talking about Mr. Aganga's book, is Nigeria still the giant of Africa? As a result of devaluation, we've probably now fallen to third. We're out of time.
We have to go to the court.
Let's go. Oh, yes. Okay, to Mr. Gordon Befele. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.